What is the likelihood of Bitcoin retesting 25,000? Let's go ahead and jump into the video. Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning into another video. I hope you're all having a fantastic day today. We're here to discuss Bitcoin. We're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin from a technical standpoint today, discussing the short term and the larger time frame from a technical standpoint, focusing mainly on the possibility for a continuation of 25k or a rejection sub 23. Before we get into it, go ahead and smash the like button, hit the comment button, subscribe to the channel for daily videos on Bitcoin, traditional markets, economic news, technical analysis, and structural analysis. We cover absolutely everything you need to understand the markets and, of course, Bitcoin's price action on a daily basis. You can also find us on Telegram. That will be the second link down below. You get updates on charts, videos, analysis, educational posts, news events, and so much more. If you are interested in joining our VIP group, this is our trading group. We post trade signals, altcoins, bitcoins, Ethereum. We do shorts and longs of specific entries, targets, stop losses. Everything is detailed for you in this channel, including our group chat. You can go ahead and contact me, guys, via that free channel. We have a 10 to 30% off sale. It is less than 24 hours remaining, and we only have 3 more out of 20 spots remaining. Go ahead and contact me. Let's get into the video. So starting off the market data, February, not a lot of movement in the last 24 hours. We have seen volatility spike 44%. Again, as a week starts to pick up, we generally see volatility push in. Liquidations are up 96%. Insane volatility over the last 24 hours, guys. We've seen some big drops in Bitcoin. We've seen a little bit of a rally. We'll discuss that in a second. But 96% increase to nearly 100 million in liquidations is quite high. And again, February is up 1.33%. We can see those liquidations over the last 24 hours. We had a lot of longs liquidate, we had a lot of shorts liquidate, and now we're kind of in this mid zone where we're getting a little bit of chop, shorts and longs being liquidated. Now looking at overall volatility, we are 2.65%, again coming down just a tad over the last couple of days, and the 60-day period is sitting at 2.48%. Again, it looks like it is slightly rising on the 60-day. Let's go ahead and talk about broader markets. So DXY is in a bearish structure. Finally, the DXY has created a bearish structure after a significant rally from all the way from 100 all the way to 105. We have seen a rising wedge formation develop here in the DXY, and a breakdown of this structure could send some relief into the markets for Bitcoin and, of course, the traditional stocks, resulting in the prices rising. This is definitely something to keep your eyes on. However, guys, while the DXY remains within the structure is still a uptrend, and therefore the possibility for a bounce and continuation upwards is definitely still likely. But I definitely be leaning now towards a retracement for the DXY over the next week to 2 weeks, a retracement resulting in a pullback potentially to 104 and most likely to 103.7. Again, that will be bullish for the markets. We could see a positive reaction. However, the markets are not looking amazing. We do see the Dow Jones has now actually broken towards the downside from a symmetrical triangle formation. Again, symmetrical triangle formation, but a daily break that resulted in the price moving towards our next support. From a measured move perspective, we should see a continuation down to 32,000. However, if the DXY does rally here, does drop here, we could see the Dow Jones bounce back toward the upside, potentially shifting the bearish structure into a bullish channel. Okay, keep that in mind. We could potentially be shifting from a symmetrical triangle here into a bull flag. Okay, remember, structures develop into structures, which develop into structures. They are not fluid, right? They move from one to another. So they're not stagnant, they're fluid. You can see a symmetrical triangle then develop into a bull flag, which then develops into a falling wedge, etc., etc., etc. It happens, it can happen. It's something you need to be aware about. So right now, we are actually at potential support for the Dow Jones, while the DXY is at the support level, which could potentially turn into resistance. Looking at the S&P 500, we are still underneath that uptrending resistance over here. Again, this does not look good until we are able to reclaim the high at $4,020. If we are able to break above that point, we could potentially see the markets rally again for one more swing upwards before another correction. That is definitely possible. That is a scenario we'll be discussing about today, but that is definitely what we're looking for. If the DXY does continue to rally and we do start closing more candles underneath here, we could potentially see a pullback towards that downside, which is the current expectation, while the S&P remains underneath that uptrending resistance. The bond yields have reached 4.8, a little bit less than we expected. We expected 5, but again, 4.8 is definitely over that target we had, which is 4.6. Again, a potential point which we could top out within this range over here. Breaking upwards again will be a good indication the DXY will rise, but while the bond yields do fall down and pull back, the DXY is also more likely to do so. Let's talk about Bitcoin. I wanted to briefly interrupt today's video to discuss my favorite exchange, Bitget. If you're looking for a safe, honest, reliable, and accurate exchange, look no further than Bitget. You can sign up by the link in the description to support the channel and get access to 3 exclusive perks. That being up to $5,005 in trading rewards, up to 15% discount on your trading fees, and exclusive access to our MegaWhale promotion campaigns that we run every few months. Alongside that, guys, Bitget is a non-KYC exchange, meaning you do not have to KYC. It is completely optional. Bitget also has a protection fund that secures user assets against external hacks and threats in the space. Alongside that, guys, Bitget offers up to 125x leverage on futures with extensive amount of trading pairs and liquidity on the market. I highly recommend signing up to Bitget. It is the exchange I've been using for over a year and a half now, including all of our members. If you're interested in signing up, trading there, and supporting the channel, you can do so with the link in the description. Thanks for listening. Guys, so Bitcoin, again, we're not going to talk too large of a structure today. We'll go over the macro really quickly, actually, and then we'll come back to the small time frame. So right now, really quickly, guys, Bitcoin has been retesting 25K for a very long time. 25K is a 254-day resistance, probably a little bit longer now, 260-day resistance. This resistance is going to be not only the horizontal resistance, but also the technical resistance on the broader scale, which represents the 200 moving average and the 50 moving average. The red line on this chart here, okay, you can see it over here, and the yellow line on this chart right over here. This is the 200. These 2 points, both the horizontal resistance on the price action chart as well as the moving averages on the monthly and the weekly, represent not only a major point of resistance, but also a major trigger for the overall macro trend from flipping to the upside. So meaning we break above 25K, we confirm a macro trend flip, and we are now in a macro uptrend. So a very important level. However, we have been seeing a lot of resistance at 25K. In fact, we've seen a lot of resistance. We've seen some pullbacks, and now we are starting to see divergences popping up on the larger time frame, which of course is going to be that daily chart, 12-hour chart, 2-day chart, 3-day chart, signifying a potential continuation toward the downside. The downside continuation would actually initiate once the price of Bitcoin drops back below 21,000. So this is on the chart over here. If Bitcoin's price drops below this local low over here, that would be confirmation of a continuation downwards, and we can expect the price of Bitcoin to fall subsequently down to potentially 18,400 to 19,200 within this range. That would be the lowest we expect Bitcoin to fall if we are breaking below this local low. However, guys, until then, it's very important to note, Bitcoin is still in an uptrend, right? This is an uptrending structure. We have an uptrending trend line, and whilst we remain in this uptrend, we do have potential to bounce one more leg upwards, and that one more leg upwards could take us as high as 25,600, and that is going to be the focus of today's video. What are the chances of a rally to 25,600, 26,000? What is the charts looking like, and when we will get structural and technical confirmation for that move? So now we've talked about the larger time frame, let's get into that smaller time frame and really talk about the potentials, and we'll come back and talk about the technicals on that larger time frame in a hot minute. So starting on a 4-hour chart, guys, what we are seeing here is a 4-hour falling wedge structure. We can even go down to a smaller time frame just to zoom in a little bit more. Now, what we are looking for a falling wedge is 5 points of retest. We have 1 point here, 2 points here, 3 points here, 4 points here. meaning we are looking for one more point of retest, and therefore the likely point of retest is going to either be on the upside for a break, considering we need 3 on one side and 2 on the other side, or a pullback and have that third retest on the bottom side and then have 2 retests on the top side for a break. So right now this is a downtrending structure, and thus the potential for both a breakout toward the upside is possible once the structure breaks, but for the short term, a potential pullback towards this downtrending support line is also on the cards. Again, we're going to discuss both of these potentials and talk about how these can occur in just a moment. But right now, defining what we are seeing on the chart is very important. So a falling wedge structure, the breakout or the measured move for the falling wedge will be taken from the low to the first high. Taking that to the assumed breakout point, we can see the price will rise to 22,550. Thus, a breakout of the falling wedge structure on the macro chart could result in that final leg upwards to retest that uptrending support or resistance line you see on this chart over here, which would result in Bitcoin bouncing up over here before one final crash and pullback. That will complete the rising wedge structure, as we have 1, 2, 3, 4 points of tests, and we need a 5th point on the top side, or a breakdown over here to end that rising wedge formation earlier. So from a structural standpoint, this is a bearish consolidation, although it is an uptrending consolidation, and therefore the possibility for a rally towards the upside is not yet quite eliminated. A lot of people are saying we're going permanently down right now. There is still a chance we see that rally to 25k, 25.6. Although on the larger scale, this is a bearish structure, and we are still expecting a pullback towards these levels or potentially lower on the larger time frame. Will it occur now? Hard to say for sure. Will it occur? Very probable. So let's go back to the small time frame over here. What other potential or what other triggers for that move upwards? For a continuation upwards, guys, we'll be looking for a break above not only the downtrending resistance of the falling wedge, but of course the horizontal support resistance range sitting between 22,600 and 22,800. A break out of this range over here will result in a continuation upwards, where we will find initial resistance at 25k and potentially a rally higher into that uptrending resistance on that larger time frame rising wedge for a final top before we come crumbling back down. If we deep dive into the very small time frame, guys, what we can see occurring over here again is going to be something of massive interest. We saw a rejection from that downtrending resistance. We have seen price pull back and consolidate. We are currently consolidating above that 50 EMA. But if we go down to a smaller time frame, it gets even more interesting. So let's go down to a 10-minute chart. What we can see here, guys, we had a very clear uptrending support line structure develop over the last, I think it was 2 days, about a day and a half. This uptrending support structure over here, you can see, was in fact a rising channel formation, right? We had a rising channel formation from the base of the falling wedge to the top of the falling wedge. Since then, the rising channel have broken toward the downside. In fact, if you were in the VIP, the channel, the group chat, you would have known we took a short at 23,750 last night and took a take profit or sell order at 23,222, making a nice 225% profit on our 100x short. Moving forward from there, guys, we saw a retracement and a bounce from here. Obviously, we had some nice bullish divergence. We are pushed up to retest the uptrending resistance here, confirming a support resistance flip. From a structural stance right now, we do look like we are more bearish, potentially heading back down, and this could develop or initiate a rally toward the downside or a drop toward the downside that could potentially result in a continuation downwards. The lowest point I expect Bitcoin to go here is going to be 22.6. 22.6 to retest this local high that we printed right over here before the rally up. It's actually a little bit higher. It's this range over here before we had that move upwards. This will be the target for a pullback. This pullback is the most likely scenario until we get the structural break and confirmation above that downtrending resistance and horizontal price action resistance in between 23,600 and 23,800. So while we're in a downtrend, we expect that downtrend to continue. The downtrend could print a low as 22,600. However, if we break upwards here, we do expect a high as 24,000. 5,600. Looking at the smaller time frame from a technical stance, guys, we are underneath the 4-hour 50 EMA, suggesting we are in a downtrend. We had a strong downtrend here. Again, a lot of volatility as the price was very far away from the 50 EMA. We are now compressing towards it, signifying the downtrend is starting to lose a little bit of strength, and we are starting to build up some bullish momentum. This could potentially result in that breakout, but however, like I said, guys, until we get structural confirmation, there is no confirmation, and thus we do need to be aware that a pullback at this level while we remain under resistance could still actually occur. Be very much aware of that. Moving on, the Gaussian channel. 4-hour chart, we are underneath the Gaussian channel, again pushing slightly into the Gaussian channel, suggesting strong downtrend over here. Moving into a weaker downtrend, or the uptrend is starting to gain a little bit of strength. Moving into that Gaussian channel again. Again, no actual structural confirmation yet of that uptrend developing. We are still technically in a downtrend. Looking at the RSI, guys, not too much to see over here. Looking at the market cipher B, let's just take a quick look at it. Not too much to see over here. Looking at the MACD on the 4-hour chart. Again, not too much to see over here. Let's go ahead and zoom it down back to that hourly chart. Let's see what's happening. On the hourly chart, we don't really see too much occurring. Let's go to that 30-minute chart, back to that smaller time frame. Again, not really too much occurring. We do see a bit of momentum rising. We do see a little bit of momentum rising over here. MACD signifying a rise in momentum. For a continuation toward the downside, guys, or a confirmation of that drop toward the downside, we will be looking for a loss of this little neckline. So this little chunk of support, you can see it kind of fits right in between that gap on the VRPV right over here. A loss of this level here will more or less confirm a continued breakdown toward this lower target and kind of get that ball rolling. So if you're not already in a short at that retest, you can look for new shorts below this resistance point here, or support point, as that will most likely break the price down towards that 22,600 level on that lower support of that falling wedge. Sorry, so we're looking for that point there. Moving to a larger time frame, guys, let's go ahead and run our technicals again. Ignore all the drawings at the top. We're really just focusing here on the technicals. So from a technical stance, guys, we are of course showing larger time frame divergences, and again, these larger time frame divergences can't be taken too lightly, but at the same time, they can't be taken with absolution. We do need to be looking at these from a little bit more of a broad perspective, understanding that what happens on a larger time frame doesn't initially always play out. It can be altered by what happens on a smaller time frame. Thus, if we do see a rally from this point here upwards through our falling wedge resistance on a smaller time frame and a rally up to 25.6k, we are going to see these indicators flip to more of the bullish side and delete these bearish divergences. Something to keep in mind, guys. If we go down to a 3-day chart, you can see exactly the same thing. We do have momentum really starting to crush toward the downside here. We're losing a lot of bullish momentum, losing a lot of strength from a hard time frame, as this resistance has now been holding for quite some time after a volatile move. Now, do keep in mind, just because we are losing momentum here on the higher time frame, it doesn't mean that the overall market is losing momentum. It's very important to understand how we get a reading on the RSI, on the MACD, and the market cipher B. These are derivatives of price action. If we see exponentially increasing volatility followed by dropping volatility, we're going to see the market cipher B, MACD, and RSI plateau. As what it does, it calculates its current position in relation to moving averages and in relation to prior price action. So we see immense volatility followed by not a lot of immense volatility. It doesn't necessarily mean that overall the market's going to drop, but what it does suggest, it suggests in comparison to this period here, we have decreasing momentum, and therefore we are starting to see divergences. And that is why it's really important to understand that looking at larger time frames, we get more lagging data. It's not as smooth, it is more smooth than short term. If you're looking for short-term direction in the next move, you do need to break it down to the relevant time frame in which the current market structures are developing, as the market structures will determine the direction, and therefore if you're looking at the market structures within the appropriate time frame, you can go ahead and apply an analysis that is going to be more best suited for the time frame you're looking at. For example, in a 4-hour falling wedge, we're going to be looking at a 4-hour all the way down to like a 15-minute time frame when running our analysis here to determine the next move for Bitcoin, and only then after that breakout or breakdown will the 1-day chart start to reflect what has occurred on that smaller time frame. Anyway, guys, I'm rambling. I'm going to leave it there. If you've got any questions, leave them down below. Find us on Crypto Academy courses at gmail.com. Go ahead and contact us. You can get access to our technical analysis and trading course. 10 units. We teach you everything from how to trade, how to find trades, market structures, technical indicators, candlesticks. We teach you risk management and portfolio management. Whole range of stuff in there. Go ahead and contact us. We'll send you information. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.